That microphone hooked up to it.
Yeah, you can always do this if you want.
That's good.
I mean, in your speeches or what?
Oh, I'm okay with that. No, okay. I don't record myself when I speak.
How do you get better? I have to give a speech Wednesday, and I'll try to record it.
Yeah, I don't like recording my speeches or anything.
Why? Ryan said it was pretty good.
Hmm?
Ryan says it was good.
My speech?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I just go off the evaluations and, you know, all my speeches are so off the cuff all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's always so however I'm feeling that day.
I know. Except when you need to reproduce it for some reason, depending on what it is.
Yeah, but even at that, once you reproduce it, it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you know the mood that you got to be. It's like whenever I was doing my QS, I knew the mood I needed to be in to go there. I had my routine down. I knew what I needed to do. So I knew what focus I needed. It's almost harder to do an individual speech. You have to come up with a different one each time.
Or, you know, content needs to be different.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get a light real quick. About these lights, I want to see if I can turn them back because they don't stay lit for very long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like an hour.
Oh.
And then it's. Oh, whoops.
Not returning that one. How'd your meeting go with Suzanne today?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, she was not. Really prepared, but.
Oh, really?
That's fine. Okay. Where am I clicking? All right, well, thanks for coming
No problem.
to this little impromptu interview. And what I wanted to just talk about or have a conversation about is relationships and marriage. And so we'll just kind of start by asking questions.
Okay.
Your name, what you do for a living, and how long you've been married.
My name is Jeremiah Lyle. I am a project manager and estimator for a construction company. And I have been married now since 2004, so it'd be 14 years.
Oh, 14 years. Wow. So tell me a little bit about how you guys met.
So I met Christy, which is my wife. I met her whenever we were actually in a youth organization called DMLA. It's an organization for young men between the age of 12 to 21. And we have a group of young
religious
ladies.
Or no?
No, it's not religious.
Yeah.
But we have a group of ladies that actually help support the organization. And so whenever I was head of the Inland Empire, she was actually head of the girls for the Inland Empire within the organization. So we met there and started dating in '99 and never broke up.
Okay, so let's peel it back just a little bit.
Okay.
So you're the head of an organization.
For the Inland Empire,
The
yes.
Inland Empire. You're doing your thing. Are you interested? Are your sights on a relationship?
No, I had no interest. We actually, we didn't start dating until late in '99. And so I actually had no interest in dating her whatsoever.
No interest in dating her, or no interest in dating at all?
No interest in dating her whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. No, I was really into this other girl.
Yeah.
And so where we started dating because I needed a safe person to go to prom with. Because the other girl.
No kidding.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
So the other girl was just total rebellious. And so I just needed somebody safe that could mesh with my friends.
And how long had you known her at this point?
Oh, I knew her probably 3 or 4 years.
Oh, so she was like that safe person.
I knew her. We were casual acquaintances and everything, but I knew her personality and she was safe. She was pleasant. She was nice to people and she didn't push buttons. She didn't cause, she wasn't loud. She wasn't kind of the rebellious person.
Okay, so this is going to envelop in it's going to be interesting to see how things happen. You had no interest in dating her. You were interested in somebody else. Prom happened. Your current interest was not interested in going or didn't want to go.
I wouldn't take her. She wouldn't mesh with my friends.
Okay, she wouldn't mess with your friends. So then you weren't necessarily interested in Christy, but you knew that you wanted to take someone to prom that would mesh with your friends.
Right.
And you're like, oh, Christy, I've known her for 4 years. And hey, you want to come along? Did you set it up as platonic?
Yeah.
She knew that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what happened?
And then from there, we went to prom and we started dating off and on for probably, we started dating off and on probably about 2 months.
Wait a minute. You go way too fast. I want to peel it. No worries. I want to peel it back. Because I think it's important. Sometimes there's a lot of surprises that happen in life that we're not expecting, right? Because you already said you had no interest in her. So help it come alive. So when did you start to think, hey, yeah, she's actually somebody I can...
We had a great time at prom. We all went back, had a great time, had a blast, partied afterwards, and it was just a really good time. And that's all I was looking for. I didn't want anything serious. I just wanted a good time.
Yeah.
And so over the next 2 months, we just started talking more and more.
Just talking, kind of like just connecting as friends, whatever.
Just talking more and more than what we were before. Where before we would just talk whenever we were at events, we would see each other, things like that.
Business activity related conversations.
Yeah, through the organization.
Yeah.
And then we just started talking more on a personal level, really started kind of like talking to her and everything, and she was really nice to talk to.
So you started having conversations with her, just calling her up and shooting the breeze.
Right.
And then what happened after that?
And then from there, I finally asked her to go on a date a couple months later.
Like an official one?
Yeah, an official date. We went on our first date and been dating ever since.
Yeah. If she was here, would she say the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
She would say the same thing. Was she interested in you?
I don't think so.
No, so no interest.
No interest whatsoever.
You know what I love about this? Because I have interviewed already today, like 3 people, and every single story is different. Like every single story. That magic pinnacle moment, like you weren't interested in her at all. She wasn't interested in, just kind of happened to be and then created.
Right.
Other people, Suzanne was in here before. Her story is marvelous. Have you heard her story?
No.
She picked a word, entrepreneur.
Okay.
Her spouse saw it in an ad, entrepreneur, and based on that ad that they put in, that's how it blossomed.
Oh, okay.
She was very intentional about it, almost strategic. No, she was strategic about it.
Right.
And then created it that way. You were married for what? You said 14 years? No intention, either side, and it just happened that two paths crossed, and then there you go. So, was there a time that you knew like this is the one? Even in you weren't interested. Then you said, okay, we want to date. And then as you're dating, that's like the trial period. Do you remember anything specific? Like, was there a point like she's the one, she's my person, No,
I don't. It was after we were dating for 4 years before I asked her to marry me. But we slowly just started becoming closer and closer and doing more and more things together. And we developed, it was more of a friendship than anything else. And that's what I want. I don't need a business partner or anything. I need a friend to go through life with.
Yeah.
And that's what I found.
Yeah. So to the extent that you're comfortable in any relationship that's, I don't know, longer than 6 months or 3 rather, well, probably 6, depending on how much time you spend. There are ups and downs, right? Mm-hmm. Like you guys have tiffs, everybody has tiffs. What for you is supportive in dealing with your stuff when things in the relationship isn't working?
Communication. Communication is absolutely number one in any relationship.
What do you mean by that?
Just being able to talk. No matter what the problem is, to be able to communicate on what you're feeling, how you're feeling.
To who?
To your spouse or your significant other.
Okay. But I'm guessing that does not always, like, what are other resources? I get it. Communication is helpful. But there could be times like I'm so pissed at you and I need my space and I need to go fishing or I need to go for a run or I need to go get my nails done or I'm hopefully maybe nothing.
No. if we've ever, whenever we've gotten to those points, and it's been few and far between.
Yeah.
We talk it out, and we force ourselves to talk it out.
So like you sit there until we figure this out.
We'll sit there in dead silence until we start talking.
No
we
kidding.
will sit there in dead silence until one of us starts talking. And we may never actually address the final issue, but just talking it out and just moving past it. I don't run away from it, and go do whatever I like to do, whether it be fishing or running. She doesn't run away from it to go do whatever she likes to go do.
I'm not saying run away is a bad thing, but sometimes people need to go.
I'm not saying it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it works for people, but for us, it doesn't. For us, it's
Have you tried? I'm not saying that you need to. I'm just saying, have you tried, like, I just can't deal with this right now.
No.
Got the kids. And just for the record, how many kids do you have?
2 kids.
Yeah. How old?
11 and 5.
Yeah. And they're both redheads, right?
No.
One of them is?
One red, one brown.
Yeah. So, okay. So that never came that you guys need to go take a break, get space.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, there's times where afterwards, there's times where I just need to clear my head, but but if we've ever had a situation, we never ran away from it and took time to think about it. We sat there and we talked about it.
Where'd you learn that? That's not typical.
We didn't learn it.
Huh?
We didn't learn it. I remember whenever I was a kid, my dad was like that. My parents, it was a really bad marriage and really bad divorce. And my dad would always go to the garage and my dad would go someplace else and they would just disappear.
Both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
And
how old were you what time were you talking about?
Well, my parents divorced in '89. So I was 8.
Oh, you were 8?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's where they had divorced. It was a bad marriage all the way throughout. Not physical abuse. It was just a bad marriage. It was 2 people that should have never been married. Yeah, they should never been married and probably should have never had kids. Just thankfully they had me.
Were you an only child?
No, I had a sister.
Older?
Yeah, older sister.
Okay. And how old was she? How much older is she?
She would have been 30.
She's no longer.
No, she passed away last year. Yeah, she died of a drug overdose.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So she would have been 39 this year, maybe 40, somewhere around there.
You think, and not to go too much, but do you think the marriage impacted her life decisions?
No. She was just
That's
she was book smart,
Yeah.
but she couldn't function on the street. She could just got with the wrong people, and she just couldn't function on the street. And she was as dumb as a brick when it came to working with people.
Oh yeah. Okay, so her emotional IQ is not very high.
Right. Yeah, but she could read a book all day long, and she was super smart.
So sometimes I like to think that we learn in 2 different ways. We either learn by looking at a situation, copying it because we see that it works, or we look at a dysfunctional situation and we say, "I'm never going to do that," and then go the opposite way. So for you, it's almost that I'm hearing that you saw that your dad and mom like went 2 different ways and said, "I'm never going to be that," because it wasn't helpful. Is that a overgeneralization?
Yeah, I never said to myself, "That's not what I'm going to be."
No, I'm not saying you said it out loud.
Yeah, but never internally or anything. I never said that, but yeah, that would probably be a safe assumption. I just remember that, and I never understood why they would.
And how did that impact you though when you're like, this doesn't make sense. They should be talking instead of.
It was great. Whenever I was a kid, I loved it. We'd go in the garage, make wood. We'd make things out of wood. We'd go fishing. We would.
Oh, so you actually enjoyed that?
Oh, I loved it whenever I was a kid. It was a blast because I got to go outside and go do stuff
with your dad.
Yeah. I was attached to my dad as a kid, so we would go out to the garage and we would work in the shop, work in the garage, work in the shed. We would practice fishing out in our driveway. Anything to get outside, go fishing for the weekend.
When you first shared it, it almost sounded like that was something that was.
No, I just remember it never made sense to me.
Oh.
It never made sense to me why 2 people can't get along and then they avoid talking about it.
Oh, okay. Like it didn't add up.
Yeah, it never. I loved it as a kid. That's what every kid wants. Every kid wants to go out with their favorite parent and go do things they like to go do. And that's all stuff I like to go do. But as an adult, and even as a kid, I never understood why. And nor did I really care because I got to go do all the cool stuff. But it never made sense.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes sense to stand there and, it's just, I almost relate it to if I have an altercation with somebody.
Yeah.
What do you do?
On the street?
Yeah, on the street. What do? You stand there, you stand your ground, and you take your lumps.
Take your lumps. What does that mean?
If you have an altercation with somebody, you get hit upside the head sometimes.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then you just
down.
and you just work past it. That's all you do. You don't run from it.
I've never been in an altercation like that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Give it a try sometime.
Yeah, all right. That sounds very intriguing. That sounds very. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. And again, though, you must have learned that somewhere, or who. One of the questions I have is, in your opinion, who or what shaped your views on marriage?
Probably my best friend's parents.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that.
They were fantastic people, still are.
And how old were you during that?
Oh, I met them whenever I was 12.
Okay, so 4 years after
my parents got divorced, all that stuff, I met them, and they are just fantastic people. They were probably some of the biggest influences on my life.
Well,
you know, professionally, and also just getting to know them. I mean,
so what was it about them? Like, paint a picture.
They were just they were always so caring
towards each other,
towards each other, but also towards everybody. They never met a person they didn't like, and they were always pleasant. You never saw them argue. You never saw them fight. They were just always, they were one cohesive unit.
Yeah.
All the way throughout.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember. And they were amazing people. And they still are amazing people.
So when you saw that, was that something like that you thought, I would like that? Whatever they have, I would like that.
Maybe subconsciously, yeah.
Yeah. What impact did that have on you when you saw that and it was your best friend?
Mm-hmm.
What impact did that have on you?
It was just something I just saw. The same impact you would have just seeing other things. You know, it's, you see it and you implement, you want to.
Did you ever see them get in an argument?
No, never. And I spent tons of time over there for years till I was, 22. I spent almost every weekend over there.
Do you think they have a sense of the impact that they had on you?
Absolutely.
Oh, they do?
Absolutely. We've talked many times.
Really?
We've talked many times. Yeah.
Wow. You think your life would have been different, or how do you think your life would be different if you didn't have that influence, a positive influence?
I'd probably been incarcerated by now.
No kidding.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for that family, probably.
It was that strong.
Mm-hmm. They were probably, well, them, and there was another family, the Armstrongs, but absolutely without them, I probably would have been incarcerated. I had a huge temper, loved to fight and just get mad, and
And what did they do? I mean, to support you in that?
They cared.
What? How?
They showed interest in things, and they helped. They helped give you guidance, but they let you make mistakes, and that was amazing. I just watched how they worked with their own kids, and how they worked with just any kid, and they always cared. And no matter what time, their phone was always a problem. Or if I had a business problem, still to this day, if I have a business problem, I still call them.
I'm getting like chills because it's a pretty remarkable experience.
Oh, it's amazing. They're amazing people.
What do they do for?
They're both retired. She was a teacher, and he actually owned a sales company. He started off his business working for Kodak, selling film and everything. Then he sold breast. He was one of the first people in the United States to ever sell breast implants. And then from there, he opened a consulting company and owned his own business. Still to this day, he does. Traveled all throughout the United States. But he only does it very minimal now. He franchised it. But very smart people, just great people.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm always struck by what really impacts and influences people. Does religion play any impact or any role in your marriage? Okay.
No, we don't go to church. Never have. We didn't even get married in a church.
You didn't get married.
We got married outside for a purpose because neither one of us are really religious. So,
yeah. You said the Armstrongs and this other family was influential in your decisions. Any other influencing factors that you're aware of, like a book or like someone on TV or something that just like an idol?
Those were always people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
So, because you can get 1,000 books.
No kidding.
They'll tell you 1,000 different ways to have a good marriage.
Yeah.
It's just like with having a kid. They'll tell you 1,000 different ways to have a kid and what to do with the kid. It's finding the people that do it right and understanding what they do. And also making mistakes, because you make them. You make them all the time as being married and with anything.
And how do you handle that?
Say, I'm sorry. I screwed up. I mean, sadly, too often people don't want to say that.
Yeah. You say it rather soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you screw up and you're wrong, you got to own up to it.
Was that new for you based on your old behavior? Because someone who has a temper often doesn't want to be wrong.
As the older I got, it wasn't, because I matured a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was probably 21, 22 that I really started maturing as far as like that, like emotionally maturing. And after that, it wasn't hard.
And what age did you marry Christy?
Oh, we got married. I was 24.
Okay, so you had already kind of.
Yeah, I was already. Yeah. That was about the time that I knew that I actually wanted to settle down. Started wanting to settle down. Wanted to start kind of focus my life and quit. Just living for myself.
Has there been times where you're like, I don't know if I can do this marriage anymore?
No,
never. Yeah, because it's not unhealthy to have those thoughts.
Right.
That's what we do with them. That's
never. Never. I signed up for life, and she knows that if this doesn't work out, this will be the only one I'll ever have. So.
What do you mean by that?
I'll never get remarried again.
Really?
No.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I love being married. I love my kids. I love everything about it. But
did you always have that? Like, did you have that mentality, like when you were, say, 20s, that you knew that you would always love being married and like that? No. Or was it a surprise to you?
And the older I got, once I turned about 22, I started realizing I wanted to settle down in everything. And so then I thought I had to have this big ceremony, and we had to pronounce our love to everybody, because that's what people do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I mean, that's what the culture tells you, is you're supposed to do that. And I will never get remarried again. It doesn't mean I don't love that person, but we can spend the rest of our lives together.
Oh, you mean the ceremony?
Yeah, the ceremony. I would never go do that process again. I would never spend $20,000 for, a bunch of people that I sometimes see.
Yeah.
So
it's not valuable to you,
right?
Even though it might be valuable to other people,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Some people, that's what they need.
Yeah.
And they want that. They need that. They need to, confess it to people. And that's okay.
Right.
I don't. I'm more of we can just be happy together.
So you're not opposed to getting involved in a relationship that others would say that you're married. You just don't want to go through the ceremony.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say you're pretty fortunate to have found Christy?
Very fortunate. I found my complete polar opposite.
How so?
She's just completely different than me. I'm very outgoing. She's more kind of introverted. Where I get upset sometimes, she barely gets rattled. And usually when she gets rattled, I'm not upset. I'm very logical. She's kind of emotional. So we're just completely polar opposites, and it works.
Balance.
It works out well. Yeah, she does amazing things with those kids, with our kids, with those kids.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, she does amazing things, and she has tons of patience, and so we work.
What would you, like, if we can wrap up, what would you say that you learned about yourself in being married that might be helpful for other people, whether they're in marriage or they're considering marriage, or, what would you share?
I'll repeat that question again just one more time.
Well, yeah, just like, there's been a lot, from what I'm hearing you say, that shifted for you. Like, originally, no interest in dating, especially Christy. Then you got married, and you said you wanted to kind of settle down, but also you weren't really, the experience that you were looking for was not necessarily wanting to have kids and married life and all that, but now you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if people are maybe thinking about getting married, or they are married, or, what have you learned as a result of being married that maybe you wish you would have known sooner, or that You know, like like a pearl of wisdom you've already shared that's working for you specifically was sit down, shut up, talk about it, or just be with the person and don't bolt.
Right.
That's worked for you. That's a pearl of wisdom that you've learned.
Yeah.
And the other pearl you've already talked about was be quick to apologize.
Right.
And another pearl of wisdom that I can add to that if you want me to. You ask your wife for permission. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Right.
So like just to recap, so people are watching, I asked if you could come in today instead of another day,
mm-hmm.
and you checked with your wife.
Right.
Not everybody does that, to be honest.
Right.
They know there's nothing on the schedule. Yeah, I can come over. You asked her specifically, is that okay? Which communicates to her that her opinion matters, that her voice matters, all that stuff.
I'd probably say just try to think of.
Like if you had to get a speech, like things I've learned.
Never underestimate your partner. I'd probably say is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we think, especially as guys, we feel like we have to take the world upon ourselves.
Yeah.
And too often we just don't think, that we can't handle, and it becomes like we have to carry this whole weight on our shoulders. And you don't have to, especially if you have a marriage and you have a good, strong marriage, you don't have to carry that weight on your shoulder, and being able to work through those things.
Can you give me an example of?
Oh, yeah, Clayton.
Yeah.
My son. I mean, that's a huge example. You want to carry that, and there's no way I could do that without her.
I don't know that people listening are going to understand what you're talking about.
Okay, well, so Clayton has autism.
Yeah.
He also has epilepsy.
Yeah.
He's considered legally blind.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, so he's considered legally blind, and so
a lot of medical challenges.
A lot of medical challenges. Yeah, since the time he was about 6 months old, he's been having medical challenges, and he's constantly at the doctors and all kinds of different things. And so a lot of times we feel like we have to take it upon ourselves. We have to be the protector. We have to be all this stuff. And without my wife, there's no way I could do that. And so being able to find that right person that meshes with you, but is also at times can be that strong person also. And sometimes giving that opportunity to be strong is huge. And too often we feel like that we have to be the strong macho ones, and it's okay to take a back seat.
Oh.
You don't always have to be the strong macho one.
Like it's okay to realize when you want to tap out and have your partner come in and do the battle for you.
Yeah.
How do you know when that time comes for you?
Whenever I'm about ready to just flip, and it's just whenever things are just too much, and it's a total emotional thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just get that feeling, and then it's just too much, and you just don't know what else to do. And it's like everything else is crumbling, and you just can never seem to get caught up. And then that you're at that point, and you have somebody else there, and you have to be able to be willing to take that back seat.
So you make a request of her, like, "Hey, can you handle this? I'm just
at times."
Yeah.
Now, after this many years of marriage, she pretty much knows whenever I get to that point, and I know whenever she gets to that point. And so, we don't really have to request it nearly as much. But there were times, especially whenever we first had Clayton, we were going through all this stuff. There was times we had to communicate that.
So number one for you is don't underestimate the value of your partner.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say?
I'd probably say, yeah.
Yeah. And what they can contribute to your life.
Yeah, and you also have to put your ego in check sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Or probably a lot of times.
Well, not all the time.
Yeah.
But you do sometimes. Sometimes you have to put your ego in check.
What do you mean by putting your ego in check?
Just the same thing like we were talking about. A lot of times guys think that they have to take it all, and they have to carry that world on their shoulders. And you don't have to. And I think you need to remember that. And I think people need to remember that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's okay not to carry everything on your shoulders.
Right.
Just because you're a guy doesn't mean that you can. And that's where usually a lot of failures start happening, is because they have to feel like they have to carry all that stuff on their shoulders. And then they stop communicating. They stop doing what's been working.
Right.
Because they're just they're past that point.
And then sometimes what happens, I've seen this with people that I work with, they're beyond the point. They haven't asked for support, and then they almost expect their partner to notice that they're struggling and take over, and they're not.
Right. And they get pissed because
they build resentment. Like, why aren't you doing this? And so this whole underlining river just waiting to explode.
Right.
So it's what I'm hearing from you in a nutshell is don't wait, be proactive about whatever it is that's going on. Like if you mess up, say you're sorry right away.
Right.
Get ahead of the problem. If you need support, ask your wife. Don't be afraid to ask for support. And then the other thing was, what was the other thing that you were talking about? Oh, don't underestimate the value.
Right.
Yeah. So those would be 3 things that you would leave people with.
Yeah.
Things that you've learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you recommend marriage?
If that's what somebody needs, yeah. I mean, I recommend a partnership all day long.
Yeah.
So, but if they need to have a piece of paper that says that they're
when I talk about marriage, I'm not talking about I'm talking about like a committed, monogamous, forever until it doesn't work. Not until it doesn't work, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the ceremony per se.
I would recommend that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
If you learned a lot about yourself and being in a marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Some stuff.
I learned I'm never right.
Yeah. Yeah. And she would probably say that that's true.
Yeah. No, I'd say I learned a lot.
Yeah. And I'm guessing there's a lot more to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're learning every day.
Yeah.
And still making mistakes every day, even after all these years.
And how do you do with making decisions about the kids?
We communicate. All decisions are made together.
United front.
Absolutely.
So you're really living out the role models that you saw in that family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And so marriage can happen, relationships can happen in so many different ways. And I'm very appreciative of you coming in here and just sharing, because it just reminds me that like, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. Mm-hmm. Or like the other ones, if you want to strategize and go after that way, there's no wrong way to necessarily make it happen.
Right.
And you
just don't have to rush into it.
You don't have to rush. Don't you think that people do that?
I think people do. And I think there's a reason why our divorce rate's the rate it is because people rush into it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we lived together for, 2-3 years beforehand, before we ever got married.
Was that valuable?
Absolutely.
It's almost like a test.
Yeah. I got to learn all of her nuances about not putting away shoes and things like that. She got to learn, retentive about certain areas of the house.
Yeah. Which areas of the house?
My office, mostly.
Well, yeah.
So.
Yeah. You still work from home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
I really appreciate it. You're the first male that I've interviewed, and it's interesting interviewing females versus males and kind of what they bring about and what they bring as far as, and it'd be interesting if Christy was come in and I was asking her, because I'm always interested about the partner and how they perceive it, and just, because the questions are pretty standard. But anyway, I appreciate it. We'll get you a copy of this. It seems like the lighting's poor, but it's the first run through. So
it's okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.